Okay, smile again. Okay, we are live. Hello, everyone. Hello, 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 and welcome. I am back with another one of my successful business partners. I have the pleasure of introducing you guys to Miss Erica Ford. I am so excited because you get to hear her story. As you see in the title, it says when the pandemic shuts down your city, what do you do next, right? What are you possibly going to do when you don't have any other option but to stay home, or you can't work temporarily, or whatever the case is? So I'm going to have a quick chat with Erica, and we're just going to talk about her experience that she's been having as a new investor and just tell you a little bit about herself. I'm so excited because she's already successful outside of investing. So this is definitely somebody that you need to listen to, okay? So Erica, just go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell people where you're from, where you currently live, if it's different, and just a little bit about yourself.
Yes, my name is Erica, and I'm originally from Dayton, Ohio, but I currently work and live in Rochester, New York. I've been here for a little over a year and moved here from Dallas, Texas. Actually, I was down there for about 8 years. So I work in higher education professionally. I advise international students on matters regarding their visa and kind of help them progress through their academic experience.
Awesome, awesome. So let me say this. Or let me ask you. So you're in New York. We know that unfortunately, even with the first wave of the pandemic, New York was hit very, very, very hard. And then here we find ourselves almost a year later, still struggling with this unfortunate event that seems to keep impacting the world. So, what is it that you are currently doing with all the time that you have now that your city shut down again?
Yeah, so mostly working, and when I'm not working, I'm doing something related to trading. So I'm taking a class, I'm taking a trade, or I'm reviewing some notes. Yeah, that's what I do in my free time. It sounds kind of boring, but it's actually exciting for me. So.
Well, you mentioned trading. Let me ask you this. How long have you been trading, and what brought you to the decision to embark on this new adventure?
So I joined, retired in 365 in October, the beginning of October of last year. So a little over 3 months now. I have a friend who has been involved with retired in 365, sorry, for a few more months than I want to say close to a year now.
Mhm.
And I had been watching her journey and, saw that she was having some success and she was really excited about it. Um, and, meanwhile, we're in the middle of this, pandemic. So I thought I had been wanting to earn extra income in addition to my, salary, and thought, maybe this is a good opportunity for me to meet new people and
Mhm.
earn extra income and learn a new skill. So I reached out to her one day, and it just so happened to be the same day that there was a virtual conference happening with I Am Academy.
Mhm.
And that is how I learned what I Am is all about. And, decided within the week to go ahead and sign up and start this process. And it's been really good so far.
Well, how has it been? Because you said it's been really good. So that was why you decided to become a trader outside of your normal profession. And I love the fact that you could actually find time to still do something else, right? Because I come in contact, and I just did an interview yesterday with Dr. Nora, who's also in our success family. Um, a lot of people feel like they don't have time. They don't have time because their careers, they don't have time because of whatever else that they have going on. But I love the fact that you did not allow that to stop you from doing something new. So now that you've actually decided to become a trader and investor, and you're learning and you're a part of our amazing family, How is it currently going for you now that you are actually involved with it? What is it doing for your life?
Um, I feel like the biggest thing I would say is I'm being challenged to look at work and money in a different way.
Mhm.
Personally, I think the biggest lesson that I've come to realize is that, I have a lot in me to offer, and I've spent a lot of time offering my skills, my expertise, my talents to an employer who may not compensate me for the value that I bring.
Mhm.
It's a good opportunity for me to take a chance on myself, to offer skills to myself that will
Mhm.
me in a way that is greater than what any employer can compensate me from. And that's not just, you know, financial compensation. There's
Mhm.
a relationship aspect of meeting new people, and the value of learning something new. You're never too old to learn. Something new really does impact your mind in a better way, makes you sharper. So I feel like there are all these different ways that I have been blessed really with this opportunity um, to grow, and learn something new.
Right. And that's how I felt too when once I got involved, because I had already made the decision that I wanted to go ahead and start this entrepreneurial journey. And that was a decision before I even started trading, because I realized that there were things that I wanted to do that I would not be able to do if I was working for somebody else, which is no shade to them, because my last boss, she was amazing. Loved her, loved her to death. I cried when I gave my 2 weeks. But I really had to take a step back and say I wanted to follow what God had for me, and I wanted to follow the purpose that He has for my life. So then I also got involved into trading after the fact. And like you, I have now I have now come to the place in life where I now understand what it is that is inside of me. I understand that I have what it takes. I understand the vision now that I have for my life, right? Because before I may have thought like this
Like
may
this
be
may be
cool,
cool,
but I
but I
probably didn't
probably
have
didn't
the
have
understanding of it
understanding.
because I wasn't in a position to actively pursue it. So I'm just forever grateful for the pursuit. I'm forever grateful for the opportunity. And for you, now that you are involved and you're starting to recognize these things about yourself, what is it that you see this doing for your life in the future?
Yeah, so in the future, I think ultimately it will bring more freedom for myself and for my family, freedom financially, freedom with time, freedom to, kind of work and live wherever I would want to in the world, and freedom to pursue some of the things that I'm really passionate about that I don't necessarily get to do in my day to day work. So, freedom. Yeah, definitely freedom.
Tell us a little bit about how you feel, because I know how I feel, but how you feel about the community, how it has actually helped you opposed to just doing it on your own, and the different resources. Because you said that you've only been here 3 months, but you're already seeing results, even in practicing, learning how to trade. Where I come across people who are trying to learn on their own and they've been doing it for like a year and they're not having as much success. So, kind of speak to how the resources are actually helping you and maybe what your favorite part about the platform is, and also the Retired in 365 family.
Sure. Yeah, I think there's so much value. People typically don't learn alone. We go to school with others.
We weren't born on an island
Yes, we work
alone.
with other people generally. And there's a certain amount of value that comes from doing something similar with someone, with like minded people. And the value in the Retired in 365 community is that there are countless, literally countless people who are on similar journeys together, having similar experiences, ups and downs, challenges and victories. And there's something about being able to look, to your left and to your right and say, okay, I can continue on this journey because I'm not at it alone.
Mhm.
Whereas those who try to take up trading as a new skill by themselves, one, there's so much information out there, some good, some bad, and some kind of in between, and you don't really know, how to locate valuable trading information.
Mhm.
But to be a part of something that's structured, one,
Mhm.
try and learn something without structure is a horrible idea, I think. But it'll take you from the very seriously, that'll take you from the very basics to intermediate to advanced in a very structured way. There are countless resources, and one of my favorite resources so far, well, maybe I'll say two if that's okay. The academy classes, which are like, enrolling in an online class, basically watching a video, and then some videos are attached to quizzes, so it'll test your knowledge. And you can go back and rewatch those things and take notes. I feel like that's very, very valuable. And then once you go through that, there's the opportunity to learn through live and recorded classes in IM Live. I think that's an extremely valuable resource. There are tons of teachers to pick from. We call them educators. Um,
Mhm.
and you can find someone whose teaching style works for you, kind of like you do in college if you attended college, and stick with them and learn how they see the market, and reteach yourself or relearn from people who have had a lot of success in this business. So it's been great. And there are people on our team literally from all over the world. Um,
Mhm.
I'm talking to you in Atlanta. I'm in New York. My friend
Mhm.
who I signed up with lives in Dallas. Um, there's just ways to get connected and build a network with like-minded people, and that's extremely valuable.
Good deal, good deal. Yes, I'm so glad I didn't have to, because let me tell you, prior to this, I knew about only the stock market. I did not know about the foreign exchange market. I knew about cryptocurrency back in 2011, but I wasn't educated on it. I only heard about it. So all of these things were foreign to me. So I only knew about the stock market, and I was trying to teach myself, and I was determined that, so I started buying books to try and understand it and all that good stuff. So it definitely was a godsend when I actually got attached to actual physical people that I could pick up the phone and call, I can get on a Zoom with, I can talk in the chats with, that can actually show me what it is that I need to learn. Because learning on my own, I was not about to do. That just wasn't going to be conducive for my life at the time. But the last thing that I want to go ahead and ask you, because we always have to make sure that we have a goal as to why we're doing things. I talk about this all the time when I'm doing this with the team. I always say our goals are like our GPS, right? If we put in the wrong address in a GPS, we're not going to arrive at the destination that we wish to arrive at, right? Or if we try and go somewhere we've never been before or we've never gone before, then we will get lost because we don't have direction, because we didn't put anything in the GPS. It might take us a little longer. So when we talk about our goals and the whys we're doing this and being specific about it, that is the GPS. And then we are now going to do the activity necessary in order to get there, right? So tell us, I'm just excited to hear this. Tell us one of your reasons why that you are doing this that really is going to keep you going in trading.
Yeah, I think ultimately one of my top reasons why is, again, going back to the idea of freedom, the freedom
Mhm.
to work for myself. And I have a specific date in mind that I won't say publicly here on this platform.
Mhm.
But I just have that sort of burned in my mind. And, that is what I'm looking toward as my motivation to continue learning, to continue trading, and to ultimately be successful um, in this. And I think connected to that is the ability to do what I most enjoy with my time.
That was going to be my next question. What would that freedom allow you to do?
Yeah, so I'm extremely passionate about cross-cultural engagement, which is part of why I do the work that I do.
Mhm.
Experiences, so the freedom to travel and to encourage those sorts of experiences in others, whether it's cross-cultural engagement while here in the US, or encouraging them to travel as well and encouraging others to come here. I find cross-cultural exchange to be something that can really grow societies. So that is probably my biggest passion, that I don't get nearly enough time to focus on and to think through, how can I contribute to the world in that way? So the freedom to have the time to dream about that and to pursue that, on my own terms, and
Mm.
to worry about being compensated for that or not being compensated, that is my ultimate reason why.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for just telling us your story. I definitely pray God's grace while you're up there in New York and that everything is going to be lifted soon for you. And also just continuing to gain success in the trading world. And for everybody that's watching, my personal goal is to impact no less than 5,000 lives by December 31st, 2021, right? And I know it's going to happen because I wrote it down, I put it in the atmosphere. God and I had a conversation about it. So the people watching just has to decide, are you going to be one of those people that are going to be able to take their financial future into their own hands? But this does not mean that you have to stop doing what you're currently doing. Like Erica, she actually enjoys the field that she is in, right? But because the economy and the government has proven to us, especially over this past year, is that you cannot be solely dependent on just one income, nor can you be solely dependent on a situation that you do not have control whether or not you'll have that position tomorrow, right? So even in that space, even if you love what you do, because I love when people find their passion, I love it. And if you can get paid to do it, that's amazing. But what I am going to say is this: if that is your only stream of income, then that is a dangerous place to be in. Honestly, the reason why I'm so passionate about learning how to trade, I've always wanted to be an investor. Why? Because I always knew that there was more, and I always knew that I had to have my money working for me. So now that I am here, I am just forever thankful that we are even allowed this access to this information. Why? Because it wasn't that long ago where you had to have no less than $100,000 in order to even participate in these markets, and a net worth upwards, what is it? I want to say 3 million, if not more, in order to participate in these markets. But now, as we sit here today in 2021, it is now possible to be a part of the largest liquid financial market in the world. And let me also let you know, it is a $6.6 trillion per day market. So yes, it is larger than the stock market. And it wasn't that long ago, about 4 years ago, it was only 1 to 2 trillion. Just last year, or I'm sorry, just a couple years ago, it was also growing towards a $5 trillion per day market. But now, as we sit here, it is a $6.6 trillion per day market and still growing. And then also, you learn about cryptocurrency. That is something that is huge. People are talking about it. Although Bitcoin has been around since 2009, how many people can say that they have been properly educated on what cryptocurrency is, on what digital currency is? I'm pretty sure a lot of people do not know that you are going to be able to make everyday purchases with this digital currency. I hear people say that Bitcoin is a scam. No, it's not. And you just need the proper education to understand how this is the first person to person financial transaction that you are able to now use and actually pay and actually transfer money. There are also large corporations that accept it as forms of payment. There are places where you can purchase real estate with Bitcoin. There are ATMs popping up everywhere just down the street from my house where I can literally go to the ATM and it has an option for Bitcoin. The government holds tons of Bitcoin. There's just so many things that are going on right now when it comes to digital currency. And now it is also the fifth, I want to say the fifth most valuable currency right now. And not only that, it has surpassed $1 trillion market, the digital currency space. be so. What does this tell you? I know it sounds like a lot of words. I know it sounds like a lot of information, but what it is saying is that the world is continuing to evolve. Just like I always say, there was a time where we wouldn't even think that we would be able to stream, and here we are. There was a time where we didn't have computers, and here we are using them. There was a time where we didn't have cell phones, and here we are using them. So you're going to remember the time when digital currency didn't exist, and now it is being accepted everywhere as forms of payment. So you do not want that to be you, where you look back and say, I knew about it ahead of time in order to get involved. Currently, Bitcoin is at around, it's less than 40,000. It did peak over that a couple weeks ago, but just because it did, there was a correction in the market, which you learn when you learn how to properly invest in it. It is still going to continue to increase. And they're projecting that by the end of this year, it is going to peak over $100,000. So what does that also mean? That you are still in position early enough in order to capitalize off of this type of currency. But not only that, like Erica said, we have an amazing community because we were not born to do everything on our own. If that was the case, we wouldn't have families. Like she said, if that was the case, we wouldn't go to school in group settings. If that was the case, you wouldn't work in an office with what? A group of people. And typically when you go to learn something, you learn better when you are able to collaborate with other people as well. So we are here for anybody that actually wants to learn how to learn how to invest in the foreign exchange market, or even the digital currency market. And there's also another one you may not know about, which is time-based trading, which is the high frequency market. All of these things are doable. I was once somebody who knew zero, okay? It was a foreign language. And here I am able to help people around the world. And also, we are attached to a global network. So Operation Impact, no less than 5,000 lives by the end of this year. My personal goal is in full effect, and I'm so excited for the lives that are going to be forever changed, just like mine has, just like Erica has. And I know I said a mouthful, but Erica, do you have one last thing to say before I go ahead and wrap this thing up?
Sure. If there's anyone watching or listening who's been thinking about, joining Jasmina in her journey, it's a great place to be. And what better time than now?
Yes. So thank you so much. As I always close out, I pray prosperity over your life. I pray strength. I pray discernment, that you know what it is that you need to do to get to the next level. I also just pray peace and joy in your pursuit to greatness. And I also pray that you become so disciplined in your everyday tasks, because that is going to be what is going to catapult you to the next level of your success. So make sure you're writing out your goals. Make sure you're planning properly. And if you do not have one already, even if you do not want it to meet me, get a mentor, get somebody that can actually show you the blueprint to become successful. Okay. It's not that people cannot be successful. They just pass up on opportunities, and also they may not have access to the right information. So make sure you're in position to not relive the same year over and over again. I love you all. Thank you so much for watching me. And until we meet again, you guys all stay safe and stay happy.